What's up, everybody? For today's video, I wanted to highlight this guy right here, Rig. He is the inspiration behind the name Coldwater. So I just kind of wanted to run through timeline on how I trained him. I've had a lot of people ask me, who trained him, how was he trained, good dog. I'm not bragging on myself, I'm giving him all the credit. He was easy to work with, but he's my first hunting dog, first dog that I've ever personally trained. So I just was going to go through kind of a step-by-step as far as the timeline and show some examples in this video, some training techniques that I think everybody could follow. And I really wanted to highlight a few important things, that I just did personally for different reasons. Number one being he's never had a shock collar put on him. He's never been force fetched. And let's see, what's another one, Rig? He's never been praised with treats. We've never gone through a training drill and given him treats throughout it in order to get him to do a task. He's been trained on praise alone. Good boy. Which sounds kind of crazy, but again, I'm giving him all the credit. So with that, I'll just kind of jump right into the timeline from day one, bringing him home as a puppy and how he was trained. So the first thing that I wanted to do was train him to eat only on command. Yep. So when we brought him home, dinner time, food in the bowl, I was holding his chest saying, whoa, 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 he's eyeballing the food, wanting it. And as soon as he kind of relaxed and settled into me, I'd let go and say his name, Wrigley, and he'd go eat. And every day since then, that was day one, he's now 5 years old, he has not eaten unless I've given him the green light. Now he goes to his place board right here that I built him as a puppy. When it's time to eat, say place, hops on the board, and then Wrigley, okay to eat. So I really think that was kind of a crucial foundation for the rest of our training, where he looked to me for what was the most important thing for him in his day, food. So that kind of made everything after that a lot easier. Then obviously some puppy training basics is they got to learn their name, some basic stuff like sit, here, or come, whatever word you want to use, and those are really important. Especially when it comes to training a hunting dog, they need to know those words. And when we touch on the whistle later, I'll kind of circle back to that. So, but those are just kind of puppy training basics. But up next for him, another very important thing to me at the time was to get him retrieving almost right away. He was a 6-week-old little puppy, and he had just incredible drive. Not every dog's going to have that drive, but he did. And our first week at home with him, he was retrieving on command. He wasn't breaking. By 7 weeks old, I had him retrieving from place and coming back to place on command. He wasn't spitting out dummies or bumpers. He'd get back to me. I trained him to hold on to it and to give, which I'll get into that training drill in a little while. So as far as the next important command that he learned in that timeline was place. So I built this place board when he was a puppy. This is the original one, using some scrap 2x4s and some plywood. I made it real low to the ground so that he wouldn't have to jump, because you don't want high impact on their joints when they're puppies. So place wasn't super hard for him to learn. I just would tap on the board, say place, place, place. First he had no idea what I was saying. After a while he'd get on the board, I'd, good boy, reward him, and he'd learn that in about a day. These dogs are super smart. So we're now fetching without breaking on command from place at about 8 weeks old, and coming back to place, and again giving us the bumper without spitting it out halfway along his trot back. So up next was something that I kind of messed up on at the time and didn't realize. As he was beginning to teeth and lose teeth and his mouth was sore, we kept practicing fetching every day. And then he started, he was about 3 months old, spitting the bumper out. And I was honestly pretty frustrated, because I was like, what the heck, you've been doing great, been this tiny little puppy doing everything I want you to, and now you're spitting it out halfway back. So I did some research and figured out that's the time where you want to back off from the retrieves and start focusing on some other important factors of just training a dog. So what we did at that time was we started whistle training, And I trained him to, with one whistle blast, he would sit and stay. So he's looking at me. And then with a 3 whistle blow, he would come back. So very important to know that. Train them to do that in hunting scenarios. You're casting a dog out on a bird. Say you cripple one and need to stop the dog and redirect him with hand signals, which comes along later in the video, more advanced training. But the whistle is something, you know, pretty simple for them to pick up, and a good time to do it is when they're teething. How I taught him those sit and then come on the whistle was he already knew the words sit and here, so I would just say sit, blow the whistle, sit, blow the whistle. Then you blow the whistle, say sit, and eventually they figure it out. Okay, the whistle means sit. Another thing along those lines I taught him was closed fist means sit. I can look at him now, close my fist without saying a word, and he's gonna sit. Same thing with here. He already knew the command here or come. I use them interchangeably. And I could, you know, I'd say here, 3 whistle blast, doo doo doo, or 3 whistle blast here. And then you start putting them together. You know, what I would do is I'd walk him way out in a field, blow the whistle blast, sit, and then I would start backing up, looking at him the whole time, so I could see, you know, if he broke or changed movement or started following me. And if he would, I'd blow the whistle, sit, until he would just stay. Then I'd get to a fixed point wherever I wanted to be, 3 whistle blast here, you know, and he'd come to be good boy, attaboy, like, you know, he figured out that's what he was supposed to do. So that was he picked that up pretty quick, and again, we worked on that while he was teething, along with other basic obedience, heel, whatnot, kind of reinforced those, you know, strategies and techniques that, you know, during a time when they don't need to be actively retrieving because of their mouth. So then once he was done teething, at about 5-ish months, we started working on just reinforcing a soft forced hold and give. I did some research on how to do this. You know, it's not a force fetch, if you know what that is. That can be pretty traumatic on a dog, and I was, you know, reading where it can really, you know, if you do it wrong, you don't know what you're doing, it can mess them up, and I certainly had no idea what I was doing. So I took a softer approach, and for about, it was a week straight, I made these little dowel rods, just like a little, you know, wooden dowel rod from Lowe's, about 12 inches, something small, easy for him to just gently hold. And I put him on my tailgate of my truck, and I'd have a lead around his neck, you know, so he knew, okay, I can't go anywhere, he's in charge. I'd make him sit, and I just put the dowel rod in his mouth, and I would just gently push under his chin, you know, to keep his mouth shut, and just say hold, hold, while I was petting him. Good boy, good boy. So hold, like that. Good dog, good boy. And the first couple times I kind of held his mouth to reinforce, and then like he's doing now, I didn't have to touch his mouth or anything. And then, you know, after 10 seconds of hold, then you give. Good boy. And if they're not wanting to give, you can kind of press the side of their mouth into their teeth a little bit, not to hurt them, but just because that's kind of uncomfortable, and they're going to reflexively spit out. So hold, good boy, good boy, give, just like that. So that was, you know, the next step in just reinforcing his training, you know, because you don't want a dog to go retrieve a bird and coming back, spitting it out. You don't really want them spitting them out at your feet in the blind. I want him to give it to me every time. On top of that, something else, you know, that I trained him to do was when it comes to retrieves in water, he'd go retrieve a duck or a bumper in the water, come back out. He's not allowed to shake off until he's given me whatever he's got and I say shake. That kind of takes some working with, because that's not their instinct. You know, they get out of the water, they'll spit the bird out or dummy and then shake off, pick it back up and bring it to you. And last thing you want is a dog shaking all over you and getting your gun wet and getting you soaked. So that was another thing that I taught him to do. But okay, so now he was 6 months old. We've learned the whistle commands, basic obedience, give, hold, has been reinforced. He's already retrieving. Now it was time to start working on some hand signals before his first hunt. And how we did that was, I did several different drills for that. And I would say the one that is the most, you know, beneficial and kind of easiest for them to pick up on is you can either, I would make like a T with a dummy at the top, a dummy on the left, dummy on the right, put him in the middle, and I'd back up a little bit. And then it was over with a very over exaggerated, you know, body movement toward whichever bumper you want him to get, over, you know, that way, or back.
Yep.
Back was straight back. And then if he would, you know, go after one I didn't want him to go after, I'd blow the whistle, bring him back to center, and start all over again. So we did that drill a lot, and it really didn't take him long at all to pick up on that. Kind of a more advanced one after that would be, you know, start him at heel, throw a bumper out, send him on it, blow the whistle halfway there, cast a dummy now either left or right, and then at that point you can either send it back on the original bumper or direct them to the left or right one. And that's a good drill for them to learn. Again, if you're hunting, cripple a bird and they're already going after one you just shot, you know, you can redirect them to the one that has higher priority and needs to get back to the blind. So we worked on those drills, you know, almost every day when we had the time, and he picked them up pretty quick. Then I would say kind of the next important drill is to teach them to hunt and fetch with their nose, blind retrieves. I did this with a tennis ball initially because it kind of held a lot more scent. Tennis ball he played with, and you can do this several different ways. You know, you can do it in kind of some taller grass so they can have a harder time initially finding it and have to use their nose. But what I would do a lot of times is I would just send out a dummy and cast him on it, and then while he was running away, you know, 180 degrees straight line away from me, I would sneak one, just throw it behind my back, and then he'd get back to me, you know, good boy, take it from him, and then I would just say, hunt dead, and he's like, well, I didn't even see anything fall, I have no idea what I'm looking for. And again, he's a smart dog. It didn't take him long to just start sniffing around until he'd find something, and you know, that's how he was. I trained him to do blind retrieves. Blind retrieves are also good for things like shed hunting. When they're fresh sheds, you know, and they have that scent to them. You know, they're going out in the woods and brush looking for something they didn't see the deer drop. Okay, so at this point, now we've gone from being a puppy who was taught basic obedience, taught his name, sit, come, then taught to retrieve and fetch, you know, from place, come back to place. Then we were taught whistle commands, sit, come, on the whistle. And then we were taught soft, you know, force, hold, and give. And then more advanced retrieves with hand signals. And now at about 6 months old, he was ready for his first hunt. So his first hunt, we went dove hunting, killed a bunch of doves. He did a great job, picked up a whole bunch. And then that was his first hunting season, so that would have been September. And then on into the fall, you know, continuing to train, work with him. He duck hunted his first season. I guess he was about 9 or 10 months old. You know, did a great job. Taking him out of state since then. He's picked up a lot of birds in Oklahoma. But those were kind of the stepwise approach. And again, I was, you know, probably a little more eager than a lot of folks to get him going, you know, day one, super early, training on doing stuff that, you know, some 4-month-old dogs aren't doing. He was doing at 8 weeks old. So all that to say, I just wanted to kind of highlight and give a step-by-step approach on what I did personally. I'm not saying that's what you should do or what was necessarily, you know, what most trainers do. Not that I'm a dog trainer, but I've had several people ask me how was he trained, so I figured I'd make this video kind of outline it all. And now he and I are gonna show you a couple of the drills that we've discussed in this video. If y'all like this video, be sure and subscribe so you'll catch the next one. But with that, we're gonna head to the yard. So up first is just gonna be basic retrieve from place. Good boy, sit. Watch. Good boy. Heel. Good dog. Give. Good boy. Now I'm going to show you sit and come on the whistle. Stay. Good boy. Stay. I'm going to call him back and then stop him halfway with a whistle blast. Good boy. Place. Now I'm going to throw a bumper. We'll stop him halfway there, throw another one, and then I'm either going to say over or back for whichever one I want him to go. Watch. Go back. Watch. Go back. Good boy. Good boy. Heel. Give. Good dog. Stay. Okay, for the next one I'm going to make that T shape with the dummies like we talked about. We got a Bronchiosaurus for our third dummy because I can't find the wood duck. Everything's kind of small scale back here in the yard. I normally do this in a big field or something where he can run a little further, but you'll get the idea. Place. Oh, dead, good boy. Yep, good boy. Heel. Right. Well. Go. Dead. Good boy. Good boy. Give. You're all muddy, wet back here. Now I'm going to show you the blind retrieve. I'm going to throw this one over here, send him on it, and chunk this one behind me while he's running that way and can't see. Obviously the grass isn't very tall back here, so it's not going to take him long, but just to get the idea. Heel. Good boy. Go back. Good boy. Heel. 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 Hunted. Dead. Good boy. Give. Good boy. That's a good boy. Play. Play. Well, that's kind of a brief overview on how this guy started as a little bitty puppy and turned into this 5-year-old muddy dog right now. If you like this video or want to see any more like specific detailed videos focusing on these individual drills or topics I've touched on, just let me know. Drop a comment. If you want to see more rig, drop a comment. But we had fun. That's the biggest thing I would say, is keep it fun, especially when they're little. You know, don't get too mad at them. They're just dogs. Their life is short. You know, they're only a part of our lives, and we're their whole life. So, with that, we're going to go inside and get some water, and we will see y'all on the next one. Good one.